Being a mother is one of the hardest and most rewarding experiences I've had ever in my life. I found out I was expecting my firstborn when I was at the tail end of my senior year in high school. Being a young mama wasn't easy, and I sure as hell had more than enough people dictating my life. I should say, they tried. It's me we're talking about. I don't fucking listen. There was only one thing I knew. I knew I wanted to be the best young mama I could be. I was. Was I always the best? Absolutely fucking not, but I did try. I will say that. Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. I am your host, Angela Schultz. Today I have a special guest with me. My firstborn, my mini me, Abigail. She made me a mama. She grew up with me and happens to be my best friend. She is also a young mama to my beautiful grandson. And I thought I'd bring her on here so we could talk about motherhood. Specifically, what it's like being a young mama. So, everybody, all my listeners, Abigail, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
I'm great.
She's a little nervous like I am. Which I don't know why, because we talk her ears off.
About like the worst things too.
like the other day, it was like 3 hours for whining.
Yeah, just both
Oh,
of
we
us
did
ranting.
yeah. So, Abigail, when you found out that you were pregnant, how did people react?
People were so disappointed in me. I think that I had one person who was you told me basically, I'm here throughout everything with you. I understand what you're going through. I didn't want your life to end up like this, but I'm still here for that journey. A lot of the other comments I got were things like, should have kept your legs closed, you signed up for this yourself, or my favorite, you made your bed, now lay in it.
Oh, I hate that. That came from my side of the family, I'm
yes.
sure.
And sadly enough, not to talk down, but I think the person who was disappointed most was Max. And I think that was like...
Max is her brother, my son.
Mom's second, one of the twins. And I think that it was most hurtful coming from him because of the fact that I was more or less excited to tell Max. Like, yes, I was disappointed in myself at the time, but I also was excited to have this experience that I have even now with my siblings, seeing them grow up with my son, seeing them, have this like great relationship. And I think having the number one person in this world who's always supported every decision I've ever made tell me I'm so disappointed in you, killed inside.
Oh, I understand completely. Well, okay, so like, how old were you when you found out you were pregnant?
I was 18.
So I also found out I was pregnant with you when I was 18. And that was, my story is a little different than yours. But, I mean, for your sake, you got lucky because your stepdad and I were both very young parents. But, so we're like, okay, well, it happened. Like, let's move forward. Let's not dwell on it. But, like, my family was like, you're an embarrassment. Like,
it's the old fashioned.
You were supposed to get married first. You were supposed to this. And I'm like, well, it didn't happen that way. And so now I'm pregnant with you. And I wouldn't have traded anything. But, it was scary. And yeah, I didn't become the nurse I wanted to be. But at the end of the day, I did, kind of. You came to me with boo-boos. But finding out I was pregnant was the most terrifying thing ever because I did have all that backlash of your future, you're this, you're that.
You didn't even go to school. How are you going to get a degree? It's going to be so much harder for when you want to go to college with a kid. You're not going to be able to do your career that you want to do. But at the end of the day, I think that people forget that it's not your life. It is not your decisions you are making. You don't have to deal with what I have to deal with every day.
Exactly. Like, am I asking you to carry my child for me and have... No.
No.
So go fuck yourself. Leave me alone.
Like, the other big thing with that being said is to a lot of my family, on my dad's side at least, put the whole... Well, now that you have a kid, it's on us to watch him. It's on us to take care of him.
But it's
and
not.
It's like, no, I never asked you. if you want to, you can go out of your way to be a decent parent, a decent grandparent, or whoever you are, whomever you are, whatever relationship we have. It's on you to be a decent person in my life to help me and support me. But if you don't want to, I'm not asking you to. You weren't there to make the decision for me to open my legs in the first place, like you said.
Ugh.
So obviously, I don't need your permission to pursue this either.
Well, so now, when I found out I was pregnant with you, little did I know that I was actually going to be pregnant for, like, what felt like forever, because shortly after I had you, you were, like, 2 months, maybe?
Pregnancy feels like the longest thing on earth.
Yeah.
I don't understand how women are like, that was a great experience. I'm going to do
liked
that
being
all
pregnant.
over again. See, not me. I dread the day I become pregnant again. I definitely want to have another kid with Dakota, but I definitely am not looking forward to pregnancy.
Well, there was a lot of
experience.
things I loved about the pregnancy thing. The worst pregnancy I had a couple worst pregnancies, but, like, I thought the twins would have been really bad. It was just that there was a lot of weight to carry around, and I was also, like I said, you guys are set for 17 days. I have, like, what they call the Irish triplets, or whatever Grandma Koopman used to call it, where I had you 2 months later. I find out I'm pregnant with twins. You didn't have that. You have one. I had 3 in 1 year, so they're like, you are a disappointment. And I'm like, you know what, though? I have some beautiful babies, so leave me the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my other thing is, like, the judgment-wise, did you ever have any, like, outside people not in your life, like, at all, come to you and just think that they need to judge you right away?
I had my first doctor. I actually had to stop seeing her because she is a pastor's wife. She was a nurse, delivery nurse, or whatever you call your vagina doctor.
A gynecologist.
She's been a gynecologist for like 35 years at this point. So you think she'd know when to filter comments, but she would always tell me, you should come to our church. I can give you this stuff for free. I can do this for you. You should come every Sunday and start coming to church and everything. As a young mom, I think it'd do you good. And in my brain, I'm thinking more or less, yes, it was nice that she would offer me help and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very unprofessional. It's like, you don't know me and now you're just offering all these things, and it makes me feel like, am I not good enough to do these things myself because I am a young mom? Or is it because now you know I'm not married and all this stuff, and now all of a sudden you're telling me, well, come to church. And I got to the point, and she would also tell me things like weird natural things that women used to do, like, way back in the day. And
all those wives' tales?
Yes, and when I do these, they wouldn't work. So it's like, why are you telling me this shit when it's not helping me anyway?
Was she more of a midwife?
I think she was at one point, and then became a gynecologist. She talked a lot. I didn't really listen. I kind of didn't really like her. She made me feel very uncomfortable. But, I think the day I told her, like, I'm done seeing you, I want another doctor, or I'm leaving, was the day that I had brought Leroy's dad in with me, and she basically asked us, so you're not married? No, we're not married.
Oh, that is none of her business.
And she goes, oh, and you're having a kid this early? And I told her, yeah, it's not uncommon for girls to have kids as a teen. Think back when you were younger, y'all were getting married at fucking
14,
17
15,
years old,
16,
having kids at 14, starting your life, and your parents are basically trying to sell you off. So it's like, you're really gonna sit here and judge me. And so,
here's your sheep.
I definitely
I
had
will give
to
you
stop.
a sheep and a cow to take my daughter that's pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much. So I had to stop seeing her for that reason.
I actually so when I was pregnant with you, it wasn't so bad, but there's also, because of the whole story behind the pregnancy and what happened after with your father and everything. So, like, not a lot of people, they were more, like, sympathetic. When I got pregnant with the twins and I had to see a specialist, there was a woman, a nurse, that was taking my temperature and everything, and she was just, like, giving me this, like, look, like, of disgust, and I'm like, are you okay? She's like, you're 19? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're having twins? I'm like, that's what they told me, yeah. And she's like, and you have this one? I'm like, yeah, and she's mine. And the lady's like, I can't even have babies, and you're sitting here accidentally having twins? This isn't fair. This isn't fucking right. And she actually left the room. Grandma Koopman looked at me and was like, you come back here, I'm kicking your ass.
Good for Grandma.
Yeah, she was just like, oh my God. And then it was right after that, then I got actually treated like a human being from some, like, right after that appointment. And the lady then put, like, the 2 monitors on, so I got to hear the twins at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was an experience of a lifetime, to hear those 2 heartbeats at the very same time. It was probably the only time those boys loved each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they're the most opposite twins. But with that being said, like, they treated me like decent, even though I was young and everything. The hospitals and everything after that. But it was that one nurse. The fact that I am sitting here, the twins are 20 years old, and I'm still like, that fucking nurse.
Well, some people's bad attitudes really do stick with you.
Yes.
And it's like, that's a memory you'll never lose, because at the time it probably made you feel so
I
low.
felt gross and low.
Yes, I know, like, growing up with so many siblings, I've had times, of course, when I was in public with Colton, and you'd just be, like, in the other aisle, and people would be like, oh, is that your baby? And they'd be nice about it. But now, as, like, a young mom, and I do actually have this child, I've been asked before, oh, is that your little brother? He's so cute. And I'll go, no, he's mine. And then I'll get the ick stare of like the, oh.
I used to do that with my brother,
some Lysol disinfectant spray and spray it all over because I just got the ick.
Yeah, you got the ick.
Yeah, like, and it's, why?
Did you see your kid? He's feral. I'm just kidding. I love my grandson.
He's a little very rambunctious 2-year-old.
He is very rambunctious. He reminds me of all of your brothers put into one, which is terrifying.
Definitely.
So now, when I became pregnant, I did have a lot of friends in high school. And they're on my Facebook, so apparently we're still friends. I mean, to me, I'm like, yep, I have so many friends. I have like 370.
Well, coming from the kid who grew up in social media, I stay friends with people just to stalk them. I may not even like you, but I'm trying to stalk you. So
I have a few people on my Facebook that that Tony and I kept on my Facebook just so we could pick on them.
Yeah,
because they're like, oh, your life is so hard. Oh my God. But no, but either way, it was like when I found out, when I became a mom, and then I ended up getting married young and all that. I lost a lot of friends. Like, it was like that my friends were either starting college, one of them was she was in Berkeley College, whatever, and one of them married my ex-brother-in-law, and all that, but either way, it was like I lost them because I wasn't able to do all the things that they were, because I had to worry about babysitter, breastfeeding, diapers, and they had to worry about nothing. It felt like. I'm like, oh, well, you're doing absolutely nothing with your life. I'm going to go and make sure this one stays alive, right?
Yeah, right.
Did you have that same problem?
I will say, yeah, and I'd say my experience, like, with one friend in particular, I met her a little bit before I got pregnant. I became super, super close with this person, and I thought it was like endgame type of friendship. Like, we are gonna be old, sipping margaritas at a bar we're not supposed to be from because we escaped our nursing home together type shit. And she ended up being a backstabber, and it was more or less, I felt like I wanted to have that baby with that person, and you ended up having it. And now I'm jealous of that. And so I'm going to take our friendship and just throw it the fuck out because it's not what I expected it to be. And it sucks, especially for, like, or Sammy, for example. I was friends with her throughout high school and everything.
Oh, yeah, I met Sammy. Yeah.
Yes, and I become pregnant, and then that's, like, our friendship kind of started dwindling a little. And then I found out she slept with my man, and I was like, oh. some great pickings, but
yeah.
But with that also being said, like,
it was kind of a blessing in a way then. If
yes,
it's great, you know.
But there's also the friends who will not go out of their way to see you anymore either because you have that baby. That also hurts too because
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
call that weeding the garden.
yes,
It's like once life real events happen in life and stuff like that, you end up seeing who's your ride or
yes,
die.
and it sucks because it's like in my case, my friends don't really drink. We're all smokers, but
I'm a toker.
is getting an eighth of pot really more important than coming and visiting your friend? Is getting
Yeah.
that high more important than checking up on me and making sure, hey, you just had a kid. Is everything good? Like, is your body okay?
Yeah, it gets
Or knowing,
lonely.
or the friends who know you have underlying mental illnesses.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Yes.
I had a lot of friends who would claim they were friends, and they never once checked up on me, knowing the abusive relationship I was in, knowing I have depression already, and then postpartum on top of it.
Yeah, well, and all those hormones while you're pregnant too, it messes with your psyche.
Definitely, and especially after you have that kid and you've gained all that weight and your self-image.
Abby does not look bad. She look good.
Well, it's the point that, like, you do have those changes in your body,
Oh,
not
yeah.
only chemically, but, you know, like, my thing was I had my acne got worse, you know, all these other things got worse, and I felt like total shit, not only mentally about how my life was going, but also the fact that now I'm not the person I used to look like. I look in the mirror and I don't
Oh
even
yeah,
see
and
me
you
anymore.
you will never be.
No,
No.
and it's like the fact that people can just ignore that, ignore the situations you are going through. It hurts, but it also, like you said, is a blessing because it shows you don't care about me.
And
so
and
why
you're not
should
wasting years trying to fulfill someone
Yes.
that's not fully there for you.
Yes,
you
or
know?
chase a friendship that's never gonna be there the
Yeah.
way it should.
You like with you, I've noticed you make friends a lot easier than I did. What I ended up doing was having so many babies that my babies were my best friends, and I was told, and grandma, and like I would go to her about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go to you guys for anything else that I needed, like I want to watch a movie with my babies because I felt like alone.
The movie nights where we all had to battle who gets
Yeah,
to sit by mom.
yeah, and but those were also one of the best moments of my life because, yeah, I didn't have any friends, but I chose it that way because I didn't want my kids to feel like I was putting them second. You know,
Putting your social life before us.
yes, I didn't, and also I didn't need a social life. Sometimes I felt like I did because I was talking to walls at one point in a psych ward. but no, but like weeding the garden is always good, but it's also sad because then you see all those relationships you had for so many years, and you're like, okay, that was a
it
waste.
all real?
Yeah. How much of it was real?
Yes,
That's
like
another
how
thing.
much of the things you told me actually did you mean it, or did you
Yeah.
just say it because it's a convenient friendship?
Exactly. But then there's also as time goes on and you're weeding that garden, you're also able to do what I did, and that's finding
Yourself.
but also finding your own tribe. Like, okay, yep, you're my family even though you're not blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, yep, I see you as and finding those real people,
Yes.
the ones that matter.
Definitely. I think that it took me losing all these toxic people to realize, and because you know me, I'm very easily manipulated, and it took me
Me
losing
too.
took me losing all those people who I thought were my friends to realize who truly was actually there, even though in my brain I told them no, they're fighting against this, they're not your true friend, things like that. It took me losing them people and losing that fog to
Yep.
realize,
Yep.
oh wow, this person only had their best interest out for me, and I just didn't like to hear it at that time.
Yep, exactly. That's a big thing. Also, like with me, I lost a lot of trust because of all the friends I lost. I lost a lot of trust, and it was hard for me to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was even hard doing this podcast because I'm like, who the hell's gonna want to listen to some crazy lady that has a whole bunch of kids? You know, but then I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Pretty much, it's like
I don't get, I just don't give a fuck.
definitely I can tell.
But that's good though. I mean, there's so many years I gave so much fucks.
It
When
takes
it was
it
like,
takes
what
a
the hell?
true strong person though to truly be yourself, and because nobody can do that anymore.
It's
Everybody,
hard.
It's a mask. It's a mask that people put on every day and go about their lives. And when you can truly be your authentic self 100% of the time, I think that takes more courage than a lot of a lot of people.
Are you
have.
saying this to me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm blushing.
And
I
also it's just hot
appreciate
here.
you. I appreciate you. Mine though also, like as time went on too, though as the years went, by, my tribe changed as well because I would just weed the garden as I, because
You'll
people
never not
change.
have the people who try to, like you said, weeding. You'll never not have the people who just come about and you don't really expect it, don't really want it, but then it happens, and then you have to realize this is a dandelion. This is not a tiger lily. This is a dandelion. It is an imposter, and sometimes it takes longer than it should, but once you do finally realize, it also is like this big weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yes.
Because it's like that one friend I was talking about before, I noticed that she was egging on bad decisions, and at the time with
when you were pregnant or
no, like even after I had Leroy and left my ex and everything, she would egg on all these bad decisions I was making. And at the time, I was just so angry at life. I was so lost. I wasn't even myself. I dressed different. I listened to different music. Like, it was crazy, such a different person I was. And, like, once you finally realize that, hey, this person's definitely, like, it's not their decisions they're making, but they're also not helping the situation.
No.
So when you realize that, it's like a huge...
It's an awakening,
yes,
basically. It's like a slap on the face, like, holy shit.
It's like, I thought, and even when I ended that friendship, I even told her outright, I was like, all this time, I thought that this was who I was truly becoming, and I wasn't happy with it, and when I would say those things outright to you, you would just tell me that it was okay. And why? Why did you tell me it was okay? Was it personal gain, or was it the fact that you can sit back and laugh at my life?
Well, whoever that was, which I'm pretty sure I already know, can laugh all they want, because since I've watched you become a mother to now, it's like a huge difference. You're more self-aware, you're more you seem to be more independent,
all that
but
money,
also that personal growth. You're
all
just
that
like,
money you spent on therapy, we never really needed to spend.
I guess not.
I just needed to have a baby. I'm kidding.
I'm pretty sure the therapy money was cheaper than the baby. Oh my gosh. So I also wanted to talk about what it's like having a little rambunctious little guy like Leroy, because, mind you, I had 3 of them in 1 year, because you were like a little boy, because that's just how you were. I mean, I put you in dresses and stuff, but you'd rather play with tractors and all that.
Boy at heart, though.
Yeah, you were my little tomboy, but the struggle and the hustle of it all, and also trying to just stay sane when you were just talking to me before we did this podcast about how Leroy is starting to throw fits and like throwing his toys out of the basket.
It's
like,
exhausting.
how do you keep? It's exhausting.
It is simply exhausting. I have always, in my personal opinion, I've always been a hard worker. When it came to school, when it came to helping my mom around the house, when it came to helping my siblings, anything that I put my mind to, I've always been such a hard worker. So I think that with that being said, even above working on the farm, this is the hardest, most exhausting job anybody could have. And, but at the end of the day...
Job title.
Yes. But at the end of the day, I also know that this is the most important job, in quotes, I'll say. This is the most important thing I will ever do in my life.
Yes.
Because not only is he my child, and I want to break generational curses.
Yes.
I want to also break, like, I want to raise him unlike other people that I see nowadays. And this is no mom shame at all. This is just the fact.
No,
this is like, I see so many just, how am I'm trying to think of how to say this with actually, like, putting it the way I want, but I can't really think of the words. My point being is that I want to be able to raise my son at the end of the day, for him to look back at his life and go, okay, this may have been wrong, but my mom and my stepdad, even, I could say, tried to make that right for me.
Yeah.
This may have been hard, but I have my mom.
Yep.
I want my kids to be able to say that. I want Leroy to not have to have conversations with people or their other siblings like I've had. Do you remember this happened? And them go, no, I don't. Because trauma blocked things out. And you lose memories that still may be good.
I know what you're talking about.
And it sucks. And it sucks to hear that. And I don't want him to have that. And so it's like, even with that expectation on myself, it makes you go crazy sometimes.
It does, because it ends up eating at you, because I also wanted the same thing. I wanted to change.
Yes.
Like, I looked at, and I think I would hope every parent does that, where they're like, okay, this is what I didn't like about my upbringing, so this is what I'm going to change. I think everybody does that. Mine was spending time with kids, and I felt like I was doing a really good job of it, because I would do the movie night. I made nights, karaoke night, all that. But then I was also mentally ill, and I lost a lot of time with that, and you just recently, like, Mom, you need to stop.
Yes,
stop.
Because I've found, especially with being a young mom too, is that you can eat and eat and eat at yourself till it literally drives you insane.
Which I do that.
And yes, we're both very bad at that.
Yes.
And I, like, for example, I have been very hard on the top, like, his terrible twos is coming up, and the tantrums, the biting, the scratching, just all the physical pain
He's feral, man.
that a child can put on you.
You need rabies shot.
It tests
I'm joking.
your every strand
right
of
now,
patience.
he's at the age where he's going to test every
and it's
part
like,
of you.
and so then you sit here thinking, is this a game? Do I punish him over this? Do I do this? Do I do that?
And then you go to bed crying,
and then
sometimes.
Yes, I was just gonna say, it comes to the point where I will sit and cry in the shower non-stop. Or it's like, my thing is, spankings don't help. Spankings don't help him at all. He'll laugh at you and ask for it again. So I will try to...
going to sit in the corner for you guys. That was ridiculous.
So I'll, like, smack his hand if he's, like, he likes to hit his friends. He'll take objects out of their hand and hit them with it. So I'll pull him to the side, I'll slap his little hand, I'll go, no, we don't do that. And then he will start crying and crying and crying. Aww. Like, I just beat him. And it makes me... I will look at him in his little teary eyes, and I start crying. And then he sees me cry, and he'll giggle and walk away. And I will still be sitting there crying, thinking, did I just abuse him? Did I do something?
But that, I know the feeling.
But yeah, and it's like, am
hard.
Am I a bad mom? And is it...
You start doing all the questioning.
No one can shame you more than you shame yourself.
That is what I want to go into next, mom shame. And there is the one within you is the biggest one.
Yes.
Because you will judge every action you have ever taken. And guess what? I am not 40, but, like, close. And you're, like, not 21 or whatever.
Yeah, I am 21.
Okay, I'm trying to get away from my age. But what I'm saying is, I even look back now at shit that I did when you were a baby, or 1 or 2 or 3, like I should have, I shouldn't have, all that. For what? It doesn't.
It's not
do
like you
anything.
can change it. It's not like you have a time machine to go back and change
but
it.
I'm lucky. I grew up. Well, I shouldn't say I grew up. You guys grew up with me when I didn't have a computer or the internet for all those trolls. For me, because I mean, I catch myself doing this. Like I said, I keep a few people on Facebook just to laugh at them when they're like,
Well, everybody does
"Ah,
it. Like, at the
But-
end of the day, no single person on this earth can say, I've never judged anybody.
But what
That is
pisses
just
me
a
off
human,
is the
it's
mom
a human
shame.
nature. But the mom shame is a big
Oh.
thing. I think that
We
as
are already-
women, we are already eating at each other all
Yes.
the time. Self-image, you
Yes.
know, now we have the feminism. So it's like, you know, women are independent and want to work. Good for you. But the ones who don't work, I feel like get shit on a lot too now.
Oh,
And it's
I
like,
do all the time.
why is it all of, and it's men especially too, I've noticed, and it's like, why is it so bad for me? See, I'm not a stay-at-home mom, but my thing is, why is it a job for a nanny to come take care of your kids? Why is it a
Exactly.
job for a housekeeper to come clean your house? But when your wife wants to stay home to raise your children the way that you guys want them raised and not have some stranger do it, why isn't it a job?
That
Why
is
is
what
it
I
being
had
shit
a
on?
big problem with, was when Tony and I decided that I was going to stay home. People shit on me left and
Yes,
right.
and I think it was because you were such a great worker and you were such a hard
I made good
and
money,
amazing
yeah.
person, and people already were jealous of the fact that you had so many kids and you still could go out, that when you finally did choose, hey, I have all these kids and this whole babysitting thing, and you know, the way
Yeah.
things are going right now isn't how it should be, I'm just gonna stay home.
Well, it was also
I
for
think-
my mental health,
Yes,
too.
and I think that people were just so pissed off at the fact that, like, can't she just choose?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, we did choose, and we chose this, and this is our life. And the one good thing with on my end was I had Tony who would back me up and be like, if you have a problem with it, come to me. I'll tell you what's up, because he was the one that
The
carries the
breadwinner.
burden. Yep, he's the one that he has been paying for everything. I got really lucky. I call him my sugar daddy
We are very spoiled
sometimes.
children because of my dad.
Yeah, yep, you call him dad. I definitely call him my sugar daddy at times, but honestly, like, I'm a sugar mama too. Okay, I might not
You're like,
give it
I
to.
give him
I
the
might
sugar,
not pay the
but
bills financially, but I know I'll make him happy sometimes.
she gives him the sugar and he gets the dough, okay?
Yeah, exactly. I'm making the bread. You know what I mean?
No, together you guys make the bread.
Yeah. No,
But,
but honestly, though, the
with,
mom shame is horrible. Like, breastfeeding. Okay, that's a huge one. People will shame you on, you know, like, so you choose to do it, how you choose to feed your kid, how you're dressing your kid that day. Is it wearing matching socks? Or is your kid, like, shut?
My favorite thing with the mom shame is, as a younger mom in the 21st century, you know, I like my crop tops. I like my leggings. I like to dress cute to make myself happy. And I've always, even this summer, I've gotten it of, why are you dressing like that when
'Cause
you
you're a
have
mom.
a child?
Yeah. But
Why
I'm a
do
grandma,
women-
and I'm not fucking dressing like my grandma did.
And it's not like I dress like a skank either.
No, I'm not saying you do.
No, I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying, like, people in general. It's like, you can't, what, am I supposed to dress like I live in the Middle East?
Exactly.
Like, freaking cover everything
You cover
besides
up your
my
dupa.
eyeballs? Like, I'm sorry, just because I'm a mom doesn't mean I have to give away my femininity. I think I said that right. Femininity? I don't know. Point is though that
Femininity.
I should not have to
Whoever
give
knows
away.
how to say that word, please go on my
Put it in the
Facebook
comments.
page. Yeah.
But I should not have to give away my self-confidence and what makes me feel good simply because I popped out a crotch goblin. Like, my son...
Don't call my grandbaby that.
My son will look at me after I do my makeup and get all dressed cute and look at me like I am the most beautiful creature on earth.
He will always look at you like that.
And
because he's your little boy.
so it's like, if my son can look at me like that, why should I care what you have to say or what you think?
Well, not only that, also, it's like, if your son sees you dressed up or however the way you want and feeling confident and everything, you're showing him when he gets older that it's okay to date someone or be with someone or be yourself and act like you are showing him that it doesn't matter what other people say.
Exactly.
And that's what's the greatest thing.
And another thing I like kind of look at it too is that I'm also teaching him that women can do what they want. I find that a lot of parents of, not you per se, but people in my own family even, teach their sons that women are basically objects. If she dresses this way, she's this type of person. If she wears this much makeup, take her swimming on the first date. And if it melts off, don't be with her. She wears too much of it. Things like that. And it makes me sick. I want my son to be able to have his woman wear a low-cut top and still go out. And when somebody comments on it, stick up for her.
Yes.
Have her be herself. Let her dress the way she wants. And that's also going to be
dictated by
the protector. Don't be the person who shits on her for it.
Exactly. And the people that you surround Leroy with will also be those big influences
yes.
on how he treats other people too, because and especially like he's seeing how Dakota is treating you, and so if that continues, he's going to end up being like that, and that's a beautiful thing.
Or like another thing on the mom shame is, I find that even friends, and
that's the worst.
I do some days catch myself being like this, but at the same time, I will not say it behind my friend's back. If I have something to say, I will tell you it to your face, because that's the way I was raised. I knew, like, in high school, I was not this person, so it took a lot to change this. But, friends, it hurts. Like, I've had sometimes where my friends will say things behind my back about my parenting, but will not tell me to my face, and then tell me they love my child.
That's ridiculous.
How can you tell me you love my child and you're my friend and everything, but then mom shame me behind my back? If you really
because it's so much easier to talk to someone's back than it is to look at them in the eye.
But the thing is, especially being an outspoken person who has that self-respect. And the thing is, if you loved him so much and you cared about the situation so much and you don't think it's right,
why aren't you saying
anything?
If it's really that bad, say something.
Yes, and it's like, so obviously it's not that big of a deal.
No,
if you're not bringing it up and you're not trying to help the situation, because that's what true friends and true people in general do. And have I said things to people that, hey, I think, like, for example, I told my friend once, I do think that you yell at your kids over stupid shit, and it's little things that you really should let go. But I'm not the parent. I'm not the person who raises these children, so you do
But
you.
sometimes person needs that.
Yes, sometimes you do need that eye-opener. You need other people to tell you these things.
Because like we said before,
we can tell ourselves as much as we want, but the number one person that you truly don't listen to most of the time is yourself.
Yes. Very much so. Also, so, like with me, and you, we are both, young and everything. You're still young. I am not. I am a grandma.
You're still young.
I'm a nana.
You are not old until you choose.
And my knee doctor said that my knee was like 80 years old. Okay. So technically, right now, you were sitting next to an 80-year-old.
You are not old till you are dead. You know who's taught me that? God bless her. But Grandma Koopman was not old. She died at, how old was she?
21 and counting.
No,
29 and holding.
Yeah, 29 and holding.
29 and holding.
She
did not celebrate her birthday.
She lived that saying because her spirit was young.
Speaking of her spirit, she has not yet.
I think she haunts me.
She hasn't haunted me.
She promised us that she'd haunt us.
Well,
I
yeah,
have things go missing, and I'll look all over, and I'll look in the same spot I look 50 damn times, and it will be there.
I legit asked Tony this morning, was your butt wet? And he goes, why the fuck would my butt be wet? And I remember Grandma said, if your butt is wet in the morning, your asshole is wet in the morning, it's her.
It's her.
And he goes, well, it wasn't. Like, okay. And he's like, and I farted a lot last night, so it's disgusting.
And she is with you. She's giving you
I
all
hope
these
so.
good... How many good things have happened? A lot, I'd say. Good things are happening in all of our lives, and I think that Grandma's up there making it happen.
I hope so. Hope she's having fun playing bingo, because not that I should be complaining, but this makes me really old, but I missed my bingo game on my phone, everybody, and honey, can I just have my bingo game back? I promise I won't buy any extra credits. He's like, you spent too much money,
Nope,
why the hell
you
doing
get
that?
penny bingo, okay?
yeah, no, it's a penny auction. So, now, anyway, like I was trying to say, is, when you have young, when you're young, and you have kids, you're growing up with your kids. Your kids are there watching you grow up also.
And oh boy, is that scary.
Well, how is that for you, watching me grow up?
I think, like, as a kid, I thought it was cool that I had a younger mom, especially, like, my best friend Braden growing up. His mom was way older than you by, like, 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've had that experience a lot, where a lot of people have older parents.
Well, like your boyfriend right now.
Yes. His dad was 65 when he was conceived. So with that being
That's
said...
like dust in his ball sack.
Well, point being is that
Dakota's dust in his dad's ball
Mom!
sack. I can't.
Point being is that, like, their parents did not do a lot of the things that we got to do as kids. Going to
that's true.
Walking around, going to the zoo, taking us to the park and playing with us on the things. Being able to build us, because Mom and my stepdad, who I will just address as Dad, as usual, Mom and Dad used to build the most coolest contraption, like dunk tanks.
Oh, the dunk tank was cool.
Tubs with handles inside of them so we could push each other down hills. Like, the craziest things. Bike racks for our million gajillion bikes.
Oh my god, the amount
Kitty
of
boxes, since we were always bringing frogs and cats home. Like, just the most random things that we always thought was the coolest. Or simply
And I didn't think they were. I thought they were just like, because we're poor.
Or my big thing is, I hear a lot of times, especially on the internet, I'll read comments on mother-daughter TikToks or father-son TikTok type things of, when did parents forget to be parents and start being friends? And with that being said,
yeah.
my thing is, my mom always knew how to discipline us without beating us, without making us feel like we were lowly humans, because she was young.
Yep.
And she understood what it is like to be young. Yeah. And that was a generational curse that she broke. And she tore down.
I do appreciate that, yes. That
with
is true.
every brick and nail. Because she I think that it takes a younger parent having then teenagers to really understand that, hey, I went through this just a couple years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah,
that's what it felt like for me.
Yes, it's like I blinked and all of a sudden now you're a teenager, and it feels like I was a teenager just yesterday. And I think that helps in the fact that they still have that connection to their young self where it's like, okay, this feels like for example, my first period, a lot of parents are like, no, you're not going to use the tampons because you're a virgin.
And I'm like, no, you're fucking using it. And my mom straight up told me, hey,
if you use the pads if you want all you want, but this is cleaner. I understand you don't like that mess. You're not going to like it.
And I guess that's true. I was able to have those weird talks.
And it was much easier. Or
the only thing I found hard was the boys, like the boner talks.
Yeah,
That was awkward. But like when you called me and said, "Mom," from school.
I ripped my pants a
I
little.
ripped my pants. How'd you know I was gonna bring that?
'Cause-
Mom, I ripped my pants a little. She said a little. And I'm like, okay, so like, do I have to bring something? She's like, maybe.
I
And
ripped
then-
my pants from the crotch down
Did
to the
I get there?
ankle.
I get there and I shit you not, her whole vagina was out. I'm like, that was a little? What's a lot? Like, what's a lot?
Or like,
And then Max ate a ghost pepper as a joke.
oh my
Or
god,
as a-
and was
as a-
puking and
And
stuff.
and they called me and I'm like, why is it always my fucking kids? Like, why? You know, and I get there and they're like, here's your kid. I'm like, thanks. And then he's like, oh, I should never do that again. I'm
Because
like,
you had so many kids. You
But-
had a whole tribe at our school.
but then I was like, you know, I think my mom would have kicked my ass every time. You guys called me so much.
or the understanding, my big thing too, like, with you being a younger mom too, is you understood my hormones so much more than I feel like anybody else could have. Whether it been the boy crazy, or like posters on my ceiling because I had no room on my walls.
None. You were making out with those.
You understood it. That's the worst part,
She
though.
was making out with those posters.
Yeah, my
It was
first
weird.
kiss was Shawn Mendes. I can brag about that.
Yeah, first kiss was Shawn Mendes.
He didn't really like.
He didn't really put out as much as she
Yeah,
put
he didn't
out.
really put out as much as I expected or wanted, but you know.
Well, it was, you know, it was
At least I
alright.
got to stare into his lifeless eyes.
She'd be like, Grandma, can
But-
I get another teen bot?
But being a young mom myself makes me thankful for all those things because I get to go out and on my son's 21st, I'll be able to go out and party with him.
Oh, I feel
When-
bad that I missed.
You know what? I had such an amazing time going out for my 3 drinks and coming home and drinking my wine and falling asleep. Best 21st, yo. You know why? Because I didn't wake up with a mad ass hangover.
I was pregnant for my 21st birthday with your brother Garrett.
But like I get to go do these things and I get to be young while he is young. I get to, you know, basically just like I said, get to do all the things that older parents don't get to do with their kids. And my biggest thing is I have the extra time when my child has kids.
Yes.
I have so much extra time to build bonds with my grandchildren.
That is what I'm excited about.
I did not get very long with my grandpa Jim. And he was the most amazing person on this earth. And if I
loved
could
him.
bring anybody back, it would be him.
I loved him.
And-
He was a great man.
Yes. And so, like, with that being said, I'm happy that I will be able to share many more years with my grandkids than what I got. And
And not only that, had the energy.
yes.
Because even though my knee is 80 years old, okay, I'm not making that shit up, I am able to, like, say Abigail. I don't know if I should say this on here because Facebook, like, flagged me when I said kidnapping. But I'm going to take my grandbaby and I'm going to have him for the night. She'll be like, okay. And then I can run around with him and be goofy with him and then give him back.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I would
Yeah.
not be able to do, like, I would not be able to do that 20 years down the road.
No, and the thing is, too, like, I did not get certain traits, because we all know, like, throughout life, you pick certain things you like out of a human being, and you take those traits and put them into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does it. No one can deny it, because that is human nature.
Yep.
But, with that being said, I find traits in myself from Grandma Koopman.
Ah.
I find traits.
She had a voice like that. Ah.
Yeah, and I get this, I'm Elvina, and,
I understand what you're saying. Like, she tried being the cool grandma to you guys.
and she
which is
was.
But to a certain point, you guys were her peasants.
Yeah, pretty much. The tapping the
She
Coke
just tapped
can
her
on the
Coke,
table,
yeah.
and we're
See,
like,
that's
oh
the-
yeah, Grandma needs another Coke.
But-
Get it there.
But with that, but also she was there when you guys were younger, and when she bought one thing, she bought three.
Yes.
Like 3 chairs and this and that. And she changed diapers and she did all that and she loved every second of it. And I was like, man, I really hope I can be like, I'm able to do that. And here I am. I have 2 grandsons and I'm able to do that. And it's like, now I understand Grandma.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And you and I have a bond that's I would never want to break. We have our moments because we're both psycho.
Everybody,
sweet and psycho.
But I think it's the relationships who go through such ugly, hard things that make it out of it that matter the most.
Absolutely.
Just like
it's
just
like a
besides
battle scar.
us, like my best friend and I, we stopped talking because of her ex-wife. We stopped talking for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And we were friends from the very beginning of high school. And now we are back to being best friends. I'm maid of honor of her wedding. Like,
yeah,
all these great things. And it's the fact that you can overcome those things that make you not only a better person and closer friends, but it just goes to show that love that really is brewing inside you that just needs to come out.
Yeah. And also, I am going to apologize for this, but I see a lot of me in you. And I'm like...
Well, I apologize. I get told it all the time.
You
remind me of your mother!
Because I'm a little cray-cray. But I mean, I love it though, because yesterday, we talked for 3 hours.
It didn't even feel like 3 hours.
It didn't feel like 3 hours, and I could have went on.
Yeah.
Like, legit.
Like, I literally rotted in my bed all day because, well, A, I slept, and then B, I was talking to you, and then by the time I got off the phone, I'm like, holy shit, it's time for supper.
Yeah. I was like, I gotta go. Dad's coming home. Ah, shit. But no, it was like, I love the fact that, yeah, you grew up with me. You did. You know my ugly parts. You know my good parts. All of that in between. And you choose to call me up when you're having a hard time, good time, whatever. And I love that. And if I was older when I had you,
I think we would not have that. I really don't think we would have that relationship.
I don't
like,
think
with
so.
that being said, my dad was a full-grown adult when I was born, unlike my mother. And
yes, he was much older than I
cannot, like, even, like, my dad and I have come a far way in our relationship, and I feel like even if it was perfect, I would still never be able to just simply go to my dad and feel like I'm going to be comforted by his words, because my mom and I did grow up together.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big thing on the relationship. It's because you weren't as mature as you should have been.
I still not as mature as I should be.
But, like, that also gave you that mental level to bring yourself lower
to where I needed to be for
where
you guys.
You could be for us.
Yes.
And that is one thing I've taken from you, of where, okay,
that's awesome.
I still feel like a child myself, so I have to put myself in his shoes.
And wait till you're 40. Not saying I am 40. But wait till...
She's always 40.
I am not... I am 40. But, like, wait until you're, like, 40. And then you're like, oh, shit. Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
With that being said, we will move on.
I had a good point, and then I looked at you have a pinup doll woman on the motor oil stick. I'm like, dang, she's kind of hot. And then...
Not the gay part.
So I guess what I'm feeling at, I'm not gay. Gay's okay. Yeah. Okay, so I might be liking girls every once in a while. But hear me out. What I'm getting at, I guess, with the whole thing is I would not want to trade everything I went through as far as being a single mom, or not a single, well, I was a single mom for a little bit, but being a young mom and all that, because I now have a 21-year-old, 2 20-year-olds. One of them does tend to all the time act like he's 12. But and I'm a grandma. And so it's like I get to experience all that and still feel at times like I'm 20. I think that's what I was getting at. I can feel immature all the time, which I am, and make stupid jokes and whatever. But at the end of the day, like, I don't have the whole responsibility.
Yeah. And like it's
And
nice
my
because
grandbabies get
a
that.
lot of people your age will only have like 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds.
Yes, why are they? There's still some having babies, motherfucker.
Yes,
you have
that
babies.
you are
How?
still raising, and now
I'm tired.
like this summer we get to go kayaking together. We're gonna get to do all these.
Who, me and you?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Who says I'm going in a kayak?
I'm gonna force Dad and her to go.
Okay,
Point
here's the
is,
deal though. I am like really blonde and Polish.
I am too.
Yeah, no shit.
I walk in a room and people
But
smell
I'm also
kielbasa.
very imbalanced, okay? So you're gonna put an 80-year-old me inside of a freaking kayak?
Hell yeah.
Cray,
You know
cray.
why? Because growing up with your children means that when they become adults, they're going to force you to do their adult pursuits.
Yes, and it's
especially
so
because
fun.
my mom did not get to enjoy her 20s the way
That's
she
actually
should
true.
have.
That's what I was
So
gonna
now that
say.
she has all these kids in their 20s now,
I
you
can
get
do
to
those
experience it again. You
Yes.
get a second chance.
It not only that, it's like Dad and I feel like because now the kids are grown. Well, we have Colton, but like because you guys are all older and stuff, we feel like we are back into the dating stage where we're able to do this and do that. We went out and I got drunk for the first time in how many 8, 9, 10 years?
Yeah, a lot of times.
And it was so much fun. I may or may not have peed my pants a few times.
Hey, I
that
pee my
night.
pants drunk or
But
sober.
it was a blast and I felt like I was 10.
Exactly, and you get to re-experience all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not even going to do the whole like balancing time thing that I was going to bring up because we were talking a lot on kind of on that already. But
Well, actually, I
there
do
is
want
one
to put
thing
an
you were
input
going to
on that.
ask. You're going to say something about finding yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will say the balancing time thing. It is a lot to balance. I could not imagine having 3 kids at the age of 20. I have a friend who just turned 21 and has 3 children herself. And I find that it is even just as my half 50,
Laundry
50,
was the worst.
Oh my god, don't even get me started. But on the even having only 50-50 custody and being a young mom and everything, I do find it hard to find time for yourself. And that, I will say, is the most important thing for any mother, no matter what age.
Yes, I do.
Becoming a mom or even a dad, becoming a parent is a lot because you get lost in taking care of your kid and taking care of all their
those
all their needs.
showers.
Yes.
All those
and don't
needs.
get me wrong, taking care of your child, like I said before, is your most important job. Nothing on this earth is above taking care of your child.
But at the same time, you don't want to lose yourself.
Exactly. Because if you are not yourself and you yourself are not happy with your life, that will feed off onto your child. Yeah. As a youngster, when my mom lost herself, I can say very confidently, knowing that when her energy was messed up, every single one of us kids were messed up. It still is like that. It's yes, like that. Your children feed off of your energy. So if you are not happy, they're not happy. If you are not healthy, they are not healthy. They can be in the most perfect physical condition ever, but if their mommy is sitting and they have to hear you cry at night, or they just see how sad you are in your eyes, they will feel that way.
Kind of like when I was stuck in the laundry room for how many months?
She would sit in the laundry room, redo her crap closet 50 fucking times a week. And we fed off of it. We knew something was not right.
You girls
even
brought
though
me food
she
and
would
paint
on a smile. No matter how much you try to mask it, your children know. And never forget that. You know, you have to take care of yourself too, and parents forget that all the time.
Yes.
Every single day, every single
and
parent.
this even goes as far as like when you're in a relationship with someone. don't lose yourself in that relationship while you're while you have a child, because your child's watching all of that.
Yes.
So
don't get lost in the static, because it will be harder to pick up your pieces once your child is out of the house. It will. It'll be very hard because of the fact that you've had so many years you just were stuck in a daze.
That's what I had a problem with, actually, before I started this podcast. That's how this podcast was born. Was because I was, what's my purpose now? Mm-hmm. My kids are like, oh, what do I do? And I would cry.
My thing is, because as, like, a young mom, you try to make friends with other young moms. And my piece of advice is, because I'm always the one who, like, dishes out all this advice, but don't take her own.
Me too.
But my biggest advice I tell my friends all the time is, you will not, yes, you will always be a mom, and your job as a parent in general is never done. But when your kids move, or when your kids even turn the age of, like, 12, that's when they start being more independent.
Oh,
sorry, Mom. Her youngest is 12. But with that being said,
he's been an adult for like 10 years.
When they become more independent, they start finding who they are.
And they don't need you as much.
Who are you? What do you want to do with your life? What makes
While
you
they're
happy?
off running around, you're gonna be sitting?
You don't want
to be sitting there going, "I'll just wait till they get home."
Or like the saddest way to put it in a way is, at your funeral, do you want people to just simply only bring up how you were a great parent?
Or do you want to be that cat
rejoice
lady
on
with
the
50
fact
cats?
that let's like rejoice on the fact that Abby was a good mom. And that all you can say is how I parented or how I was a good mom.
No, it's weird that you brought up
I sure as hell don't want that.
It's weird that you brought up the funeral thing, because honestly, I was talking about that the other day, like, what the hell would they say at my funeral? I don't want a funeral. Because I'm afraid they'd be like, that bitch was crazy.
I'll stand in the corner. I'll stand in the corner of the room with the 22 and just stare at the person while they have their speech, like
when you went up to Grandma's and you're like, my favorite story about Grandma is when she hid all the laundry detergent.
Hey, I made everybody laugh.
It was funny.
And you know what? It was like the funniest story
out
of everybody's,
so
and I did that on purpose because
I needed it.
At the end of the day, like, yeah, you can say Grandma was a hard-working lady. She was very passionate on her religion. She loved crafting, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when I think of Grandma with one word, I think humor.
I think she was stealing soda on accident.
Yeah, and that's humor. Like, how is that not fucking funny? Like, she was the funniest damn lady.
Like, Grandma, did you pay for this? I guess not. Guess it's free.
Everybody wants to be an Elvina. And I think one day I truly name
love
my daughter Elvina.
I love that. Well, I got my Jeep Ethel.
Who else is going to carry on her name?
But no, she didn't want anybody to have her name.
Well, too bad, Elvina. You're getting it.
One thing I loved about her, though, is that she was so authentic. She really did not give a fuck.
No matter who or where she was.
And that's
every single person
they need to
live for that.
Yeah.
Like, she gave my dad such a run, my real dad, such a run for his money.
His nickname was Grease Monkey.
And when she passed away, he did not think of all the bad things or all the bad words. All he could say was, she was such a strong-willed, independent, funny woman. There will never be another person like her.
There won't.
And there won't.
But the more and more that I write and all that, I do realize I am very similar to her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so that means that
it's
you
bad.
are too.
I know.
Yeah. So, do you have any favorite, like, what do you love the most about being a mother? Like, a young mother? I know we already touched base on it.
I would have to say being able to run around outside with Leroy.
And seeing all of his new furs.
Yes. Like, he is, like my mom has said, he's a very rambunctious little boy. He has the biggest personality
he does
I have ever seen for a tiny
midget
kid.
Body.
Yes.
He looks like a little... he looks like a midget baby.
He does.
He
And
runs
the
with-
thing is, it's not even only like his
He's
energy;
all-
it's his personality.
His personality
in
is
general.
too big.
And it is way too big for the little vessel his body is created.
But it is so
And
cute.
you know,
Oh,
it
I
makes
love
me
him.
happy that I have the energy and I have the physical ability to literally full sprint because
Yeah.
he decided, oh, look at this big hill in my yard. I bet you if I take my truck and put my feet up, that thing's gonna shoot across the yard.
And it
And
did.
he does, and it does. And so it's like, I'm happy I'm able to run to his
It was just like
rescue.
him on the Lightning McQueen thing. He had both hands on each side. It wasn't even touching
Yes.
the wheel, but he had his foot full, like the
And if
pedal
you don't
to the
know,
pedal.
little parent tip, if you put a drill battery in your kid's power wheels, that
It goes
thing's gonna
fast.
zoom.
And
And let me
he
tell
ran
ya.
into Bumpa, which is my husband, we call him. He ran into Bumpa, and then he actually drove it into the
Yeah, he don't care if he
the
hits
shed.
trees.
He was purposely trying to hit us.
Or the dog. He likes
Like,
to chase after our dog. and
Dang,
hit
when
him
you're
with
5
things.
years old, I cannot wait to see what you're gonna be like.
I'm scared.
My favorite thing about being a young mom was also being able to keep up, but also having that drive to wanna do things also.
Yes.
I know I forced you guys into some things that you didn't want to do, but it was like, too bad, I don't care.
That's
if you
every
did it.
parent.
Yeah.
Or another one of my favorite things I would have to say is being able to learn things with him. Like,
Yeah.
for example, there's the show with the healers. I don't want copyright. I don't know how that works.
What
But
do
the
you,
show on Disney that you
Oh,
can
okay.
find with the dogs and they're healers.
Oh, you're talking about Bluey.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I
Yeah,
don't know
you
if
can,
I'm
you
allowed.
can say Bluey.
So
I like Bluey.
I love Bluey because it's the fact that as a parent, whether you can claim you're the parent who's like, my kid never ever watches shows.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Point
Please
is
ever
that
play with my phone.
I have lessons that I have learned simply either reading my son books or watching shows with him because, like, I don't know, in the media nowadays, you gotta watch whatever,
it's bad.
anything, even if it
I
is
am
a
glad I'm
children's
not
cartoon.
raising kids at this day and age.
It sucks. It's hard.
I would not be able to do
But-
the social media thing.
That show has taught me so many things about parenting. It is unbelievable. Like, there's this one episode called The Baby Race. And it is about
About
how
how
Bluey's
Yep.
best friend,
is doing things.
yes, was
like-
learning things
like
faster as a
walking,
child. My
crawling.
big hard thing with Leroy right now is that he is turning 2 on the 31st of January, and he does not talk. He talks a couple words he knows how to say. He can try to blabber them.
You know what? His favorite word around me is bumpa. And he smiles at me when he says
It's
it. And he knows he's
it's not
saying
just around you though. Like, he sees
But the thing
a
is,
picture
I'm like-
of his bumpa,
I'm
and
like-
it's nonstop bumpa, bumpa, bumpa.
I'm like, oh, look at Nana's here. He's like, bumpa. Like, no, bumpa.
But like, it
He
taught
talks,
me.
I call it caveman talk.
But
Like he does that.
the episode basically tells, and I feel like Disney did this on purpose. Like, they did this for the parents. It wasn't even an episode for the children.
No, I really think
Because
it's
the
for parents
whole
too.
episode basically taught Bluey's mom that no matter how fast or slow your kid is progressing, it's not a race. Not all kids are going to grow at the same
No.
rate. Not all kids are going to learn things at the same rate.
And what the hell is why are we competing? And whose kid's
Exactly,
better?
and that's another thing.
Why
it
are
taught
we
me
com-
is
why is
why
this-
am I competing? I have people I know whose kids talk phenomenal. And
Like
they are
my other
younger
grandson.
than him.
Yeah, your
Or
nephew.
Emmett, even, yeah.
Yeah, your
he is
nephew.
a beautiful talker. Such a smart, funny little guy.
But then there's
I
things that
love
he
the
can't
hell out
do.
of him. But there are things that he can't do that Leroy can,
And
that
Leroy-
Leroy
and it's
can't
opposite.
do that he is so great
Yeah.
at. And it really teaches me that it's not a race.
No.
And so I'm lucky that, I'd say that's one of my favorite things is that there are certain things that are trying to teach your children morals and your children things that also remind you at the end of the day, like, hey, calm down. For any young moms out there or even older moms who like to read to their children, check out Worrysaurus. It will be a great book for you and for your children.
I like Honky Donkey Wonk, whatever that one is.
I don't know.
The honky, I don't know, it's kind of funny. But it's not like yours. Yours is like inspiring and mine's just like Willy Wonky, Wonky Donkey, Wonky Donkey.
It's like Click Clack Moo, Counts on Type.
Yeah.
I love that book growing up.
But honestly though, like I wouldn't change when I became a mother, and I also wouldn't change how people talked to me even when it happened.
No, because it gives you that power, and it gives you that, like, looking back, at the time it may have sucked, but now as a mom, you can go, I have a daughter who's a good mom. I'd like to say I'm a good mom. I have a daughter who's a good mom. I raised a son who will accept women even if they have a baby.
See, and I like looking at you guys.
I have a
daughter who is raising her son, and this is what she's choosing to do. I love the fact that I get to see some of the things that I incorporated into my parenting, but then I also love to see the things that you're doing differently as well.
Yes.
I love watching all of it.
Or, like...
Do I pay attention and listen to you when you say, Mom, don't do that? Nope. That's because I'm Nana.
That's grandparents, though.
That's Nana.
I full-heartedly, any moms out there listening that are... It's always great to have rules for your children, yes, but at the same time... You want your kids to have a bond. Your parents are not always going to be able to spoil your children.
No, and that's one thing I got lucky with Grandma Koopman, is she was able to do that kind of stuff with you guys. And Dad and I are able to do that with our grandkids right now, because when we get older, we're not going to be able to run around and do all that. But right now we are, and right now is the best age for the grandkids because they're learning.
Yes, and their younger years are the most impressionable years. So if you try to get your kid out to do not only like see family more often to create those bonds as they get older, they won't want to let go of those bonds, which is a good thing.
And so I was like I was saying with you parenting and then me being grandma and then coming in and doing my thing and I don't listen to you, that is a big thing. A lot of parents are going around and being like, no, Mom, you can't let my son do this because of this, because of this. There's a certain, yes, it's certain situations that is, to be expected. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is rooting a bond that the grandma and the grandpa are trying to build with their grandchild. And guess what? They're not always going to see them.
Well, and a little reminder, as a young mom, to say this too is a big thing in my opinion. But your parents are not your children's parents. Yes, they are there to help you teach your child morals, things like that. But when it comes to the spoiling thing, they had to raise you.
Yep.
They did not get to be like your grandparents who spoiled you and did all that stuff for you. It is now their turn to piss you off. Well, and then, it is now their turn. And my thing is yes, there's times I'll tell my mom, don't give him all that sugar, blah blah, and I stopped because I sit here and I think, he don't get that at my house. He doesn't get this certain things at my house. He doesn't get a lot of sugar at my house. It's the Propel. It's the Propel.
I turned him into a Propel baby.
He won't even drink real water anymore.
And then just sit there and chug it and stare at me, and their eyes will be watering.
That's scary. You know why? I can see in the future them two boys having a keg party together and be like, come on, boys, you won't beat us.
Both chug it so well. But But I like what you said. It is true. We are only doing like what we can do. But also, Tony and I, Dad and I, we didn't actually have those grandparents for you guys.
I could say, like, in my own personal opinion,
yours was different situation.
I kind of got it
boys.
with, like, Grandma Brenda, I feel like.
Yes, you did, but not my boys.
No, which is the sucky part. Like, which I think as a grandparent is really shitty on you.
I'm not here to talk bad. I'm just saying, like,
no, but it
Tony
is like
and I, like, we want to change that. We're breaking that because Tony's mom wasn't exactly always there, and I'm not getting into that her lifestyle, but we didn't want you guys in her lifestyle, and then there was my side who also wasn't there, so we want to be the best grandparents we can be.
Yes.
The ones that we wanted our kids to have.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I think that you guys are doing a great fucking job.
Ass.
Yeah, like just the fact that my kid hears the messenger video call ring go off on my phone, and he's like, Nana, bumpa, freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, quit hyperventilating. Yeah,
I have to appreciate that about you. When I know he's here and I FaceTime, she doesn't even answer it. She'll be like, hang on. She will. She'll be like, hang on.
That's exactly how I say it, because I'm jealous.
And she walks to his room, and he puts it on his little workstation, and will just look at me and try to talk, or shoo me away, or ask me where Bumpa is. That's 99% of the time. Bumpa?
Or showing them things, or showing off.
But, like, she knows that FaceTime, when he's here, means I'm not talking to you, Abby.
No, because usually when you call to talk to me, it's audio call.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me. I just want to put my little tidbit in and say, like, you know what, mamas and dads out there, you're never going to be the perfect parent, but you can try your best to be a good one. And don't beat yourself up over the little things, because guess what? I've watched my mom do that my whole life, beat herself up over the little things, when at the end of the day, we don't fucking remember that shit. You know what we remember at the end of the day? The fact that I had fun with my siblings. We got to go out and have fun playing outside, and have our mom basically dragging us in by our ears because it's 9:00 and you snuck back outside. And, or the fact that we never had to worry that we were going to come home and have to be hungry. We never had to worry that we were going to come home and get our ass beat over something stupid. We never had to come home.
I wanted to.
You wanted to, but you didn't.
Like, I would have probably
I will definitely say there's been times, like, we definitely deserved a good ass whooping.
But you didn't. You didn't get it.
But we didn't get it. I can say at the end of the day that no matter the shit that you were going through, as a young mom, you know, your kids may beat you up for it at the time being, but at the end of the day, you were good parents, and you tried your best, and that is all that matters. Because if you just don't care and don't try, and, you know, you can't acknowledge the things that you do wrong and you can't change, then you're not doing your job as a parent.
Correct.
And I could say that you overcome all the things that you can sit here and beat yourself up for. You've overcome that. You're not that person no more. No, and a lot of people forget that, even within themselves. And I catch myself doing it too sometimes. You will never be the same person. You will always be changing, and that is human nature.
And that's what you should happen.
And my whole piece on it is, don't beat yourself up for the small things. Remind yourself of the good things you do too. And remind yourself that you too are important. It is, yes, it's always about your child, but at the same time, you cannot do your best job as a parent without doing your best job taking care of yourself as well.
Correct. That is huge.
And I think that's my whole tidbit on the young parenting thing in general, is that don't forget to still give yourself time. Even if you are a mom who or a dad who has nobody, I can
It
find
could be as simple
that
as
is
reading a
so
book.
hard. Yes, I get that it is hard to find time for yourself, but even if it's just making your favorite meal for yourself and giving your kid mac and cheese because they won't eat it. Oh, fucking well. Your kid's not thinking, well, this isn't all the nutrients I need for the night.
No shit.
No, they're thinking, shit, I get mac and cheese. I'm so lucky I get mac and cheese for supper.
Yeah.
They take time for yourself, even if it's the stupid little things. Buying yourself a Twix.
Having a cigarette.
Watching a movie you like.
Having a cigarette while the kid's throwing a temper tantrum.
Yes. Sneaking outside while your kid's being an evil little brat to take a hit off a joint.
Times.
Take your fucking time for yourself too. You cannot do your best job. You cannot do your best job as a parent without taking care of yourself.
Correct. I'm proud of you. Now you need to live by your own fucking examples, guys, right?
Hey, I do now, lately.
Yeah, lately. Lately. All right, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my daughter and I today as we do what we do best.
Talk.
Oh my god, did you read this?
No, we didn't even read nothing. This is not scripted. So if you guys hear anything, it is just because we are that much alike.
We have ESP. Like,
And if
today, I'm sitting here doing my ending right now, and it's not even working out. But today, I go to open up Facebook Messenger to message you, and all of a sudden, you're like, that's weird. I'm like, what the fuck? She's on here.
You know what's funny, too? I was telling Dakota that because she pulls into my yard to do the podcast today. Our dog does not bark when people are over. I did not hear her vehicle, nothing. I just go, my mom's here. All of a sudden, Dakota's like, what? Holy fuck, your mom's here. I'm like, I fucking knew it.
That's crazy. So, if you haven't already, go and check out my Facebook page. That is called Chaotic Harmony.
Holla.
And give her a good like, you know? All the platforms that this podcast is posted on can actually be found on that page as well. After that is all said and done, join me and my daughter in embracing all of the weird in this world and make normal feel boring. Bye.